Hello, everybody. Only two people right now. Never mind. We'll get started probably around like 11:05. Let some people trickle in. Hope you all had a great week so far. Alrighty, so it looks like we got a small class today. I just put the information for today's class in the chat box. Let's get into the numbers. How's your week going so far, Josh?
Everything's good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Celebrated a little bit too much on Monday. I had a closing, and I thought I was going to get into a new escrow, but unfortunately, literally at the final hour, a cash offer came in that was 5,000 above ours. We went up to 695 on a place my client was looking at. We beat him by 5,000, and then somebody came in and just said, "Screw it, we're going to do it for 700K, all cash, and we'll do a 10-day close." I was like, "Oh my god!" So
Can't really compete with that.
can't really do much there unless my client wanted to go cash, but he doesn't, and he can't. So, say la vie. So Josh,
Yeah,
let's start with you. How was your week so far? Did you get any calls in? And if so, how did they go?
good. It's a mix. It's 10. And it's a mix of calls slash emails. Um, made contact with two, or sorry, made contact with five. Working on getting appointments with two.
Good job, man. How did those contacts go?
Good. Starting off with you know, like mutual friends slash connections. Um, and the contacts that I'm working on right now, setting up appointments. One is potentially first time couple, first time home buyer, and one is potentially duplex owners looking to sell. So trying to work on, you know, getting like in-person meetings
Dude,
as
killing
we
it.
speak.
I love it.
And nothing's in the bag yet, so
Hey,
we're
man,
still home.
listen, it's one step at a time, and you're talking to the right people, it sounds like. So good job.
Appreciate
Duplexes
it.
are awesome. Duplex especially are awesome because one, you can represent them on the sale, and then two, when they lease them out, you can also represent them on the lease. So
Exactly.
a continuous funnel of income. So that's great. Good job.
Thanks.
Awesome. All righty. Lisa, do I have you on here or are you new?
I'm on there. I'm 65.
65. Awesome, Lisa. Sorry about that. All righty, Lisa. How was your week and how are your conversations?
Conversations and everything's good. My week's been very busy. I have like 3 buyers now, but they all kind of want to wait till like June, July when like the COVID restrictions are lifted and people can get kicked out. And so maybe there's more on the market then.
Sure. That's what we're all waiting for. I would urge to maybe try the conversation with them. Like, hey, would it hurt to start looking now? Like, have they been pre-approved yet?
2 have been, 1 has not. She wanted to pay off some of her debt until then, so she hasn't gone in.
Well, for the 2 that are kind of just waiting for the market to change, while they're waiting for the market to change, their dream home could, pop up, and even if they have seen everything, just keep the conversation out there. Like, hey, you never know. I'll just check in on you, periodically. If you see something, send it to me right away and I'll book us an appointment.
Yeah, I'm still looking and sending them
Nice.
things.
Good stuff.
Just to even figure out more of what they have what they like. So that when we find it, we'll just jump right on it.
There you go. Good job. Awesome. Keep it up. Amber.
Good morning.
Good morning. How was your week so far?
Good. I talked to 3 people on yesterday, and then I spent a lot of time just going through listings that I can see for right now, from one of my friends that I had talked to you about, just see if I could find anything he's interested in. I'm finding a lot of things he's not, so at least I'm kind of feeling him out, I guess, and learning what he doesn't like.
Do you know what he does not like and what differs from?
Yeah. For example, 2 of the places that I showed him yesterday, one of them was a flag shaped lot and he wasn't into that. And it was close to an apartment building. And then the other one he said was too close to the freeway and the noise could be a problem. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And I'm guessing he doesn't want a flag lot because he doesn't think, the resale would be good or something like that because you have to drive through like a long driveway to get in there or something like that.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's why. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Sounds good. Well, keep it up. I think that, it's a tricky situation.
Yeah.
You don't have access to the MLS, so it's kind of
hard. All of the comps I'm having to do manually, you know what I mean? And I can't look at everything, so it's really difficult. But I'm just showing him what I can right now, just keeping myself busy and learning what I can for the time being.
Sure. Atta girl. Awesome. Keep it up. I'm sure you will find what the gentleman is looking for. Good job. All righty, George.
How you doing? Sorry for
good, my friend. Looking sharp. Looking sharp.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What's new? How's it been going?
Pretty good. Kind of a little bit busy making some offers, but yeah, just waiting, showing, and I have something very interesting that happened this week because I have to fire a client.
Nice. Let's hear about it.
So basically this lady once in the beginning she was trying to buy and I was willing to help her, but then she has a little issue on her house that she was living in because she was renting and she needed to leave, so now she start living in a hotel. So instead of buying right now, she need a place to rent quickly. But the problem is she's extremely picky and with a low budget. everybody knows this story with the low budget. So she wants to live close to the beach. She wants a house, not a condo, for at the maximum of 2,500. So for the last, what, 2, 3 weeks, I've been sending homes to her all the time, all the time, all the time. And I mentioned to her, look, if you want to rent, it's better to go to from the apps and websites that you can find through the property management. And it's
Yeah.
better because they don't want to work with us because of commission. So
Yeah.
she's like, oh, because I thought you're a realtor, I thought you guys have resource. So she started all of a sudden to send me message with indirect message underline saying that I'm not doing my job. And I said, okay, but you understand what you're looking for, right? This is not nonsense. So this been for like 2, 3 weeks, and I'm very upset already because she keeps sending me those messages, and we cannot find a place. And I'm driving all the way to like beach cities, Venice, Huntington, Seal Beach, Long Beach, just to show those properties. And I said, you know what? This is gonna be, if it doesn't work this time, it's gonna be the last time. So I took her on Saturday to Redondo Beach. It's a beautiful place. It's a townhome with one split, one neighbor on the next door of
Mhm.
the wall. And she, all of a sudden, she said about, she spoke about a something that she didn't like. And then she went straight to the agent of the lease saying, oh, do you have any other properties that you could, show us? And the agent said, oh, but I think that George is doing a good job with you because he's finding those places. He said, yeah, I don't know if he's doing a good job. I don't know. But joking, I said, yeah, that's it. I'm wasting my time. So I wrote it down an email saying that unfortunately I'm not going to be able to help her. I'm not going to be able to help her, and I tried to be very professional. She's a good person, but I found out that she tried to live in 8 different places and nothing works. Said something's fishy there. So I sent a message to her saying, okay, this is my time. I need to focus on real things, and best luck on the search.
Yeah, and George, I think you did the right thing there. Unfortunately, there are certain situations where, it has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with the market. It actually has everything to do with that particular individual, and their expectations are just maybe not realistic. For whatever reason, it's a personal thing.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate. I hate to hear that, but at the same time, I think you did the right thing. Listen, $2,500 budget, and you're finding that her places and they're not good enough for her. I mean, that's a little bit silly, mainly because
Right.
that's looking like for a needle in a haystack. I mean, it really, everything that you can see, you're sending her, I'm sure. Now, the irony is what you did say to her was very good advice. If you have a budget that's 2,500 a month, the likelihood of that place working with real estate agents is fairly low because they have their own leasing specialists. They don't want to pay a commission. It's already very, very cheap. The commission is only hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands.
Mm.
And if it is an agent who's listing it, they want both sides. So
Yes.
it's a little bit tricky. And I think what you did say to her is accurate, because a lot of these rental properties that have a leasing office or something like that, let's say it's a townhouse or a condo, it's not going to be listed with an agent. It's going to be, an internal system.
Yes.
And it's not even on the MLS. So for example, I often say to people, if I have a client who I actually care about them and I want them to find something quickly, I'll say, listen, I'll help you as much as I can, but I would highly recommend you using something such as Westside Rentals,
Mm.
something of that sort, because at that price point, the person, if it's an individual who's leasing their own property, they might not have it listed with a real estate agent because they
Mhm.
want all $2,500 per month. They don't want to pay, a commission. So it is what it is. You're trying to help her out. She doesn't want to
Mhm.
listen, and frankly, she's insulting you. It feels like. So
Yeah, I kind of didn't like that, because she also is my time. So I left Saturday, was with family, have to drive all the way, gas, to listen some stuff like that. I said, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I was literally, as a new agent, I was trying to do one to have a transaction, to have the contracts and all of that going on. Was
Yeah.
not even for the money because I know the money would be low and she needs help. But anyways,
Yeah. Well, listen, man, you stuck it out for a while, but eventually if somebody's just kind of, what I like to call a professional buyer or a renter, meaning all they do is just look at houses for fun, it seems like, then yeah, you got to cut your losses because, your time would be better spent lead generating versus, spending time with her. So, after a certain amount of time of giving somebody, good service and attention and whatnot, I think you did the right thing.
Thank you.
It's very difficult to walk away, but sometimes you have to. So good job.
Thank you.
All
Thank you.
righty. No worries. Shannon Schuster.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How goes it?
Good. How about you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How was your week? Did you make some calls?
Actually, I just officially got my license yesterday. So so I haven't like officially reached out to anybody yet, but I've started to put together a list of people that I'm going to contact either later this week or starting next week.
Nice. And contacting those people, it's a little bit nerve-wracking, admittedly. I know maybe it's not for you, but for me at least it was.
Yeah.
So my best advice is to bite the bullet and just do it.
Right.
And come from a place of contribution. Easy on the sale, heavy on the, hey, was just wanted to catch up, wanted to see how you've been. I just got my license. Do you know anybody who's looking to, purchase or sell or whatever? And then, just have like a friendly, like checking in kind of message, and then ask them about their life and how's everything with them? How's the pandemic been treating them and stuff like that. And then meanwhile, throw in, that you're in real estate and that you're looking for business, but then, quickly if they're saying no, quickly transition to just like a conversation. Then at the end of the convo, follow up again with, it's so nice to talk to you. And I just wanted to reiterate that if you do know anybody, let me know. And frankly, if they say, oh yeah, I am looking, then boom, you're off to the races and good job.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll get the hang of it, and awesome stuff. And congratulations on getting your license finally.
Thank you.
Cheers. All righty, everybody. So right now I'm going to put in the chat box oops, for some reason, there we go. I'm going to put the information for the class for today. I just put it in the chat box. And this class should be a little bit shorter. So congratulations. Don't worry, we're not going to go until like 1 o'clock. It's only 39 pages. So this one is Find and Show Homes. And here we go. There we are. Making your buyer's dream a reality. So, once you have a buyer, once you have, a client, we obviously have to find homes and show homes and do all that fun stuff. So we're going to learn techniques for qualifying homes you find online. You're going to develop your showing skills, practice powerful scripts that help your buyers in the decision-making process. And scripts are very, very important when we're showing homes. And again, I always like to refer to scripts as conversation parameters. Yes, I want us to learn the scripts, very, very well. But the main point is that you should have it down to a point where it's very easy for you to kind of think back to a script when you have an objection handler or anything like that, that you can just kind of go, oh, I know what to say in this situation. So that's part of what scripts are for as well. It's not always just to know it verbatim, but just to kind of know how to react to certain situations. And when showing homes, you're going to want to look at, their body language, their posture, how they're presenting themselves, the questions that they're asking, and stuff like that. And scripts are very important in this process to just know, hey, this sounds like this person, really likes this home. We might have an offer coming up. And it's fun because when I first started doing this, I was like, oh, they'll let me know when they want to buy. I don't want to push too much. But the reality is now that I've been doing this for a little while, I'm able to tell almost immediately when somebody's interested in a home. And I know to ask the question like, hey, So what are you thinking about writing an offer on this place? And really just kind of pushing the ball forward, because sometimes when you have a first time buyer, especially, they want the house, they want to write on it. They just need that little extra like nudge to go like, yes, okay, this is the right thing to do to write on this property. So let's get into it. George, if I could have you help me with the script.
Hi, Jared, just one moment because I'm in a call right here. Really quick.
No worries, take your time, that's all good. Josh Schneider, how about you?
All right, page 6, or where are we?
Yeah, I think we're on page 9, but I
Page
also have it
9.
up on the screen.
Perfect. Hi, Jared. I'm Josh Schneider with Keller Williams Realty. I'm in the process of creating a list of preferred business and service providers to give to my clients. Since I frequently have clients ask me for a good dentist, I only want trusted companies to refer them to. Since I have had excellent service from you, would you and your business be interested in being included?
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds great.
Awesome, great. I like to establish these professional referral partnerships to help grow each other's businesses as well. So if I were to refer clients to you, would you be willing to refer your clients that are looking to buy or sell a home to me with the assurance that I will provide them with the high level of customer service that you expect?
Absolutely. That's how my business grows. It's all referral based, so I'm happy to do the same.
Excellent. How about we confirm each other's contact information so that we can get started?
Perfect. Here's my blah, blah, blah. So yeah, this is a script that is very geared to, creating a referral stream of business. And if you think about it, whenever you go to an auto mechanic, if you go to the dry cleaners, if you go to, a restaurant or whatever, it's always saying, give us a review on Yelp. So that's basically what they're asking for. They're asking for you to refer them business via the internet. So just look at it like that. When you're doing business with somebody, for example, on a regular basis, like my dry cleaner, I've been going to this dry cleaner forever. I've told them like, hey, I love your service, and I send my friends over there. I tell them to say, hey, Jared sent me blah, 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 blah. And in the meantime, I always ask them, hey, I'm sending you some business and some referrals. Would you be open? And if you feel comfortable enough to send some business my way, I think that you have great customer service and I love the experience over here. Would we be able to reciprocate it for each other's businesses? I think it would be really great. And 9 out of 10 times they will say yes. I love business to business transactions and referral partnerships, mainly because it's business. They don't feel like they're already in that like business mindset, so they don't feel like they're being sold to. They're willing to play ball, so to speak. And I just think it's a really great way to create, some traction. In fact, one of the gas station attendants where I used to live, we had a conversation. I asked him, I was like, hey, I'm going to give you a couple of my cards. If you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell, here's my info. Please feel free to pass it on. And sure enough, I had 2 people that year call me from the gas station attendant saying, hey, this guy says you're great. And, we were chatting it up and I mentioned I needed a house and felt like giving you a call. And sure enough, I didn't sell anything to those 2 people, but I just like using it as an example. They're just were not ready to buy at that given moment, but you never know where a client can come from. So always good to have something like that. Okay. So creating referral partnerships with business owners you have not done business with. So Josh, if we can do this again, but you'll be the business owner and I'll be Jared, the real estate agent. Hey Josh, this is Jared Medlinski with Keller Williams Beverly Hills. I'm in the process of creating a list of preferred businesses and service providers to give to my clients. Since I frequently have clients ask me for a good landscaper like yourself, I'm looking for a trusted company to refer them to. I've heard great things about your company. Would you and your business be interested in being included?
Hey, Jared, that sounds great. What kind of partnership were you looking for?
Well, mainly just kind of like a reciprocation. I'd like to establish these professional referral partnerships to help grow each other's business as well. So if I were to refer you clients, for example, would you be willing to refer your clients that are looking to buy or sell a home to me, with the assurance that I'll provide them with the high level of customer service that you expect.
That sounds great. Definitely interested.
Excellent. Awesome, man. Well, how about we confirm each other's contact info so we can get started?
Perfect. Sounds great.
Great. And, you know, landscapers are great because landscapers tend to know when somebody's getting ready to sell. You know, they're sprucing things up. They get a call. They're like, hey, listen, I want to get my front yard and backyard to look in a little bit better condition. I need to resod the grass. I need to make it look, nice and taken care of. Why is that? Oh, well, we're looking to sell soon, and I just want to make sure the house is in tip-top shape. So, landscapers, contractors, architects, all those people are great people to put in your referral network. And in fact, I know some people who would, spend like, maybe once a year or something like that to just make a cold call list of all the different landscapers in the area, all the different contractors that they could find, and stuff like that. And just, go, hey, just out of curiosity, I hear great things about your business. If you are willing, I'd love to refer people your way if you'd be willing to do the same thing back. And, again, oftentimes, business to business, they are very, very open to helping. Okay, good stuff. All righty, get your head in the game. The journey. The journey from buyer consultation to offer is the most exciting and rewarding part of working with buyers. Finding the right home as quickly as possible is a win for the buyer and a win for you because you can work with as many buyers as possible. Here are some National Association of Realtors statistics that will help with some of the home search process. The typical home buyer searched for 10 weeks and viewed 10 homes. 92% of buyers use the internet in their home search process. 50% of buyers use a mobile website or application in their home search. 98% of buyers who used an agent viewed real estate agents as being a useful information source. More than 50% of buyers reported finding the right home was the most difficult step in the home buying process. 24% of recent home buyers reported the primary reason for the recent home purchase was a desire to own a home. 9% purchased a new home due to a job-related relocation or move. 8% bought for the desire to be in a better area or a change in family situation. So these stats are interesting. And one of them that I like to look at the most is 92% of buyers use the internet in their home search process. So if you're looking for buyers, trust that you can find them on the internet, whether that be through Instagram ads or just, organic, Instagram, Facebook posts and stuff like that. You're likely going to come across somebody who's looking to buy whenever you make those kind of posts. So keep that in mind. It's a great place, especially in the pandemic. It's a great place to find people, lead generate, and also promote yourself and all that fun stuff. And then also 98% of buyers who used an agent viewed a real estate agent as a useful information source. So basically 98% of buyers out there like working with us. So don't be afraid to ask for the business. And then also more than 50% of buyers reporting finding the right home was the most difficult step in the home buying process. That's where we come in. We want to be able to point them in the right direction to the right homes that fit their budget, their lifestyle, and their needs. And that's what we're good at. So good stuff. Excuse me. Make it happen. Working with buyers. In order to have a successful home search process, focus on these 3 steps. Find the right homes, show qualified homes, bring your buyers to a decision. Number 3 is my favorite one because it does need a little bit of a nudge occasionally. So finding homes. 92% of buyers use the internet in their home search process. There's no doubt that your buyers will be searching the internet on their own. It's your job to help them identify which homes are actually worth time to see. Your thorough buyer consultation helped establish exactly what the buyers are looking for in their dream home. Leverage that criteria using online property search sites to find several homes for your buyers to view. Now, before I get into the 1, 2s, and 3s of this, is it our job to, so take this with a grain of salt. Is it our job to literally find every single home for a buyer to look at, or are we assuming that they're going to be doing their own searches on their own as well. Or it's not our job. But should we assume that we should be 100% responsible for sending them every single home that hits the market, and it's only going to be the stuff that we send them that they're going to be looking at? Or do you think that they might be looking at other homes on their own?
I think they might be looking for properties on their own.
Yeah. So what I always like to say is that what we're doing as real estate professionals is just trying to narrow that view for them a little bit. So oftentimes I'll work with a buyer who, they're very proficient on Zillow or Redfin or Realtor.com or whatever, but the issue is their hopes are a little bit high in the sky, and let's say their budget is 900,000. They'll include homes that are like 950 or $1 million, hoping that they could offer a lowball offer and get the home. Because unfortunately, that doesn't happen, especially in a seller's market, as us agents can confirm. But it's our job to have an additional search setup that is well within their means. So everything that we do find on the internet, we know that they have the ability to purchase this house. So for example, whenever I have, especially in this market, if I have a buyer whose budget is, let's just say, for easy math purposes, is $1 million and 0 cents. That's the highest they can go. I'm really going to be focusing on homes that are in this market, at least, that are listed all the way up to like 950. Why? I know that almost everything is going over asking. Everything that I've seen on the market so far that is priced appropriately is being sold over asking. So I want them to really focus on like the 800 to 950, range, so to speak, because if we do find something that they truly love, they're going to be very competitive in their offer. And knowing that, that's what I want them to kind of focus and zone in on. Now, yes, are they going to send me homes that are listed for $1,025,000? Yeah, they are. And I'm going to say, sure, we can go take a look at it. But I just want to remind you that this home is outside of your budget range. And also, I also want to just point out that it is appropriately priced. In fact, it's listed about 5% below market value. Do you think that this home is going to go for less than $1,025,000 or more? And then they go, yeah, probably more. Okay, so how about this? Let's focus on these 3 homes tomorrow when we go out looking at homes. And if we still have time, we can try to go make a showing at this property. Sound good? And they're like, yeah, okay. So what I'm doing there? I'm just trying to narrow their search view. I don't want them to go all over the place. I want them to focus on what's reality for them. But okay, let's get into a couple of these things. Set up a buyer instant notification, BIN system. It's basically a drip campaign on the MLS. The second a house hits the market, I want them to go ahead and see that. And it lets them to know when a property matching their needs appears on the market. So the important thing about setting up a drip, so for example, if I could use Amber as an example, Amber has a client who is a developer, and he's looking for homes all over Los Angeles with a very broad price range. And, it might be a little bit difficult, for example, to set up a drip for that person, because if the price range is so broad and the area is so broad, all of a sudden you're going to get, even though that there's not a lot of listings on the market, there's still, 10, 20 listings coming on the market any given week. Depending if you're looking all over Los Angeles, it's very difficult, and they're just going to get flooded with new listing. And they're just going to be, oh my gosh, this is just too much. And it's almost creating a confusion more than a service for that individual. But when you're able to zero in, like, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. I want it to be in Northridge, or I want it to be in West Los Angeles, whatever it is. I want it to be this price range. I want it to be this criteria. Great. I can now only search for a 3-bed, 2-bath with a specific lot size, with a specific square footage on the footprint, and all this. So now, instead of having 20 or 30 homes every single week being sent to them, it's only 3 or 4 or maybe 5. And that way it's easier to go, okay, I see what's coming in. Okay, I want to see this one versus, oh, I don't know. Let's see them all. We can't do that, obviously. So it's very important to be very specific on what your client is looking for. So that way you can set up an instant search notification system. And then that way it's kind of a little bit more hands off, and you can just kind of wait for them to get back to you on that. Monitoring what your buyers receive from the KW website and app through back office tools. Now, again, I use the MLS. I don't use the KW apps, but you can do it on both of those. Contact them when you find a property that they should see. Let's see. They should see. Likewise, ask them to contact you immediately when they find something they would like to see. Again, number 3 is important to me because what I always tell people, it's like, you know, perfect example. I had a buyer who sent me 4 different search criterias that were mapped out in one given area that were like literally like, I don't know, 3 blocks over here in Santa Clarita, 2 blocks over there over in whatever, a couple over in this location. That is so specific that it was like, you know, I'd have to set up like 4 or 5 searches for them and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, even if something does come on the market in that location, I know that they're kind of picky as far as, you know, what they feel is, you know, livable. So I told them, I was like, listen, you know, I'll set up a search for you. I have no problem doing that. I want to set kind of a little bit of a broader net. So sometimes you can get too specific. I want to set up a little bit of a broader net for you. And listen, you know, you'll get a couple things that might not be of interest to you, but the main thing is I want to make sure you see everything that hits the market, because that's, for example, a house comes on the market, you know, 2 blocks outside of your search radius, but that location is still part of this school district, which is what you really want. You know, I don't want you to miss out on that potential. So I also explained to them that, you know, they're likely going to be the ones who see the house first on the internet that speaks to them. You know, I have my own personal taste. They have theirs. You know, it was interesting. I showed them a house. Literally, these 2 houses were 2 streets away from each other in the same community development over in Stevenson Ranch. The first one I showed them was remodeled, brand new floors, new paint all over. They redid the windows and stuff. Really, you know, looked great. Like, in fact, it had a nice pool, had a view. I was like, if I were gonna live in Stevenson Ranch and for a starter home, I love this place. So they saw it. They acted, you know, they said that they liked it, and then they went, nah, you know, I think we're gonna pass on it after thinking about it for a little bit. But hey, listen, this one home did come on the market in the same neighborhood, and I was thinking in my head, I'm like, why do they want to see the exact same model home, same bed bath, same layout? The only difference is it's the reverse layout. So instead of the rooms being on the left, this one was on the right. And this one did not have a view. It just had a hillside that it backed up to. Who am I to judge? I take them there. We're walking through the home, and it literally, like, the inside of the home looked like an old grandma was living there. And I was just like, huh? Like, this home is the same exact house, but just older. Like, it hadn't been remodeled. You know, it has old flooring. The paint is like beige, like I don't know. I thought it was hideous. And then they said, we love this one. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So their personal taste, it's a little bit dated. That's fine. But my point is us as an agent, you know, everybody has their own individual taste or style that they happen to like. So what you might look at as, oh my God, this is amazing, they might look at as, oh, it's too white, it's too clinical, it's too, you know, sterile. I want to see some character, I want some warmth, I want some this. And so my point is that I always like them to, you know, kind of take their search. And I like when they look at homes online on their own, because I think that that's the best way for them to find something that really speaks to them, rather than just relying on me and what I send them. So anyway, okay, find and show homes. Continue to check in periodically to see if your buyers think of homes in their search. If no homes meet their criteria, you may have to meet with them again to realign their expectations. This is important. Like, for example, with George and what he's going through with that renter, you know, he's sending them everything that possibly fits their criteria. But eventually, if you can't find something, you need to have another sit down and go, okay, what are we looking for? And more importantly, do I need to give you a little bit of a correction and realize that what you are looking for might not exist in this price range. So we either need to do one, lower our expectations, or two, increase our budget. And more often than not, it's lowering the expectations that we need to do. So very important. Keep your buyers focused on the top 5 to 7 homes you've selected for them to view based on their needs. Use this script. Keep the focus on the best homes. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, when we do find the right home, we'll need to act quickly. And I know you are going to have the feeling of, well, if there's something is there something better out there? But I have to tell you, the best homes sell right away because they are the best homes. Do you want to see all the homes, or do you want to find the right one quickly? And this is a great script, frankly. I think it's a really, really good one. I think it's very effective. I noticed that with a lot of buyers, there's always like that kind of like, well, maybe we should keep looking. Maybe we should keep looking. Oftentimes, it's our job to just say, listen, this is an amazing home. You're lucky. You found it quickly. I don't want to see what happens with a lot of my buyers, where they do decide to wait for a while longer, and then they realize 3 months later in their home search process, oh gosh, I should have written an offer on that property because it was amazing. And this has happened with quite a few of my buyers, frankly. Even though I used this script, I said I really think it's a great home, and sometimes they have to learn on their own. But if possible, we want to have those conversations up front so we can kind of help them zone in on what's working for them. Okay, qualify homes you found online. Your buyers will be searching online. So when they call you and are excited because they found the one, remind them that you still need to qualify the home before you jump in the car to show it. Check the MLS to make sure the home is available. Compare the features of your home to your buyer's wish list, 5 must-have sheet. Is it really a good fit, or are the buyers letting their emotional factor cloud their better judgment? If it doesn't seem like a good match to you, take advantage of the opportunity to further fine-tune their wants and needs. Simply asking 2 or 3 questions can save you an hour of time viewing a home that doesn't meet their criteria. You told me that large bedrooms was one of your 5 must-have. 2 of the homes you have sent me do not have large bedrooms. Is that something you are willing to give up? That was the situation for my buyers actually in Stevenson Ranch. Make a showing appointment, leverage the tip. So actually, let me give you a little backstory on that. So those same properties that I was referring to over in Stevenson Ranch, their main complaint for the first time when they saw the model that had the view was that the bedrooms were small. Now, the only reason why I showed them that house again, the exact same identical model, just the reverse layout with the hillside backyard. The reason why I wanted to show them that is because I knew that we had 3 additional appointments set up. And those the other homes that I was going to show them were much bigger. The bedrooms were much larger. They were 2-story instead of single-story. They had a large living room layout, so they really had space to kind of be a family. The bedrooms were all upstairs and much bigger. I think it was like the first home we looked at was like 1,300 square foot. And then the other homes that I was going to show them were like somewhere, I think 1,900 square feet, something like that. So the point is I wanted to show them that smaller home again, and then show them the bigger homes that I knew that was actually what they wanted. And I used that script to just kind of like show them like, so we keep looking at these homes, but obviously every single time we go to take a look at this home, you still have the same complaint. So this home over here, however, in Valencia, which also has a great school district, I think fits what you're looking for a little bit more. Which one would you think is the better option? And of course, they ended up going towards the Valencia house. And so now we're kind of readjusting where we're looking. And we're going to have these little kind of checks with our buyers frequently throughout the process. Okay, make a showing appointment. Leverage the trip by checking to see if there are other comparable homes your buyer might want to see at the same time. That's, I wish that was the case in this market, but unfortunately, oftentimes, especially if you're in like an area like Santa Clarita or something like that, or Valencia or whatever, a lot of the homes are like in track models. You know, they're all built at the same time. They all have the same layout. There may only be one home that's for sale in that entire neighborhood. So you're kind of limited. And in fact, if you're in Beverly Hills or West Los Angeles, it's the same thing. You know, you may only have a couple homes to be able to see. But in a healthier market, meaning it's good for the buyers, good for the sellers, there's not high inventory, but healthy inventory. You'll often be able to go, hey, great, we're looking at this home, but I've also noticed that there's 2 homes down the street, same bed bath count, same this, same that. Do you want to go ahead and take a look at those 2 after we're done with this showing? And that way I'm able to leverage my time a little bit better, and then also get them into more homes just to kind of help make the process a little bit more clear for them. So good stuff. Okay. This is a in-person activity. So we're gonna go. Alrighty, showing homes. Organization, the ability to guide your buyers towards a decision will make your home showing successful. Look at the showing instructions on the MLS to schedule show times. Oftentimes now, because of the pandemic, what people are using because they have to schedule all the showings is something called Showtime. It's right in the MLS. You click on it and you can schedule an appointment. So a lot of agents are utilizing that now, and it'll say it in the remarks. You know, also, you know, if it's on a lockbox or something like that, it will say in the MLS private agent remarks, on Supra, go direct, or what have you. Might be combination code, call before, you know, entering, so I can give you the code. The point is when you do make contact to the listing agent, whether it be just a text message to say, hey, we're going to go take a look at the property, check your email, we sent you over a PEAD form, blah, 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 blah. You want to sound like you're a competent agent and you want to just be like, hey, I read the showing instructions. Great. Just want to let you know I'm seeing it. This also helps you when you're writing an offer. Instead of being the agent that gives them a call and they go, did you read the agent showing remarks? And it's like, no, I didn't. They're going to remember that when you're submitting an offer. They're going to go, well, what else didn't you read when we were doing this? So try to do that. It helps, surprisingly enough. Anyway, always call the listing agent to see the home is still available. And if they have any offers, set up the home tour date with your buyer with a specific start and end time. Try to give a 24-hour notice if possible. I absolutely like to do, we have to do that now during the pandemic. Check with your buyer to make sure they have earnest money ready to go if necessary. Preview the home and eliminate any that do not meet their criteria. So typically when the pandemic was not underway, if I had a client who wanted to see a few properties, I would go ahead on Tuesdays and take a look at the house ahead of time, especially if it's in like Beverly Hills or whatever, because, you know, it's a higher end client. I don't want to waste their time. I want to put in the extra effort. But right now, because we have a lot of virtual Matterports where you can almost like virtually walk through the house, we can do that at our own home, just to make sure that there's nothing on the list of homes that obviously doesn't meet their criteria. You can make sure that you either put that towards the end of the day or completely eliminate it from the showings. Prepare and educate yourself about the homes and demographics, be a source of information, determine which route to take, always showing the best homes first. Sometimes agents will say show the best homes last, but it really depends on what works for you. I sometimes like to show the best home last or in the middle. It really depends. But the idea is by showing the best home first, you know, they're going to see the best thing first, not so great, not so great. And they're going to think back, oh, wait, that one was really, really amazing. I really want to go back and write an offer on that home. Also, I like to determine my route just so it makes sense. You know, if you're going from like area to area to area, you might want to set it up in a very specific way. Okay, arrange to meet your buyer at your office or in front of the first home you will be touring. print out 2 detailed MLS information sheets for each property you plan to tour with your buyer. One for you, one for them. Place the MLS information sheet in order of the tour of the properties and include a home tour checklist for each one so your buyer can record their own comments. Make one set for your buyer and one for yourself. Make a copy of the 5 must-have sheets that have been filled out during your buyer consultation and include it with the MLS and home tour checklist that you'll give to your buyers. This just keeps, the important things, up front. Oftentimes buyers can get swayed by staging. They may walk into a home and just see how amazing the decorations were. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. This is so great. But they're kind of neglecting the fact that it's a 2-bedroom and not a 3-bedroom. And you know that they need a 3-bedroom. So you really want to make sure you have those 5 must-haves just to keep them, in line. Just be like, hey, remember, this is what you said you wanted. This is beautiful, but this is a lot of staging. If imagine your furniture in here instead of this staging furniture, or imagine this home empty, would you still be as interested in it as you are right now? Very important. Help buyers view homes. One of the most important parts of preparing your buyers to evaluate the home is to help them understand the things they should look past. As you ask your buyers for their comments on the homes, help them to distinguish between things that they like and didn't like. If their dislikes are things like the yard size or structure of the home, things that cannot be easily changed, ask them if that's a deal breaker. When it comes to things like wall color or lack of landscaping, discuss easy, low-cost solutions to help them see past these issues. Have your buyers use the home tour checklist to guide them as to what to look at in the home and to make comments. You should use the home tour checklist found on the Unite toolkit as well. Remember, every time you take a buyer out to a home, you are also previewing the home for other potential buyers. As a real estate expert, you need to be aware of what is on the market. Interestingly enough, things like color, like wall paint color, like, for example, a house might have an accent wall that's painted bright red or green or blue or whatever the color might be. And that might sway somebody against a house. But the reality is it's just a bucket of paint. It's not a big deal. Like, you want to help them see past that. One of my favorite things that I have ever experienced, it's favorite now, but at the time it was very annoying, is I was working with these buyers who are now my good friends. I love them to death. But they're looking at this home that literally was probably, even today, it's not better than the home I ended up getting them in, but it was right there. Location wise, I think it was better. But anyway, I digress. The point is they were walking through the house. Everything looked great. Everything looked fantastic. And they had just recently installed vinyl flooring upstairs. Not vinyl, but it was like composite flooring. And I guess when they installed it, one of like the seams was kind of a little bit buckled. Not a big deal, not a huge deal. That could be fixed fairly easily. But the thing that was the real deal breaker for them is when the wife opened up the cabinets, she said that there was a little bit of dust on the inside of the cabinets. Let me repeat. The reason why they didn't want to write an offer is because they found dust on the inside of the cabinets. That was mind-blowing to me. And, we actually ended up writing an offer, but the offer we wrote was like so unrealistic in reality. Like it was just kind of shocking. So remind them, a little bit of dust, we'll get it cleaned. A little bit of paint that they didn't like, we can repaint it. A little bit of this, whatever. We have a way to fix this solution. So always remember that.
Jared,
Yeah.
I have a question about showings and something that the buyer didn't like or what they like. How we as an agent can give our opinion that can affect that decision. How can should we be neutral about the property and don't say anything? Or should we say, look, this property is a mess. Do you still want it?
So repeat the question one more time.
so how should we give our opinion?
Okay.
Because I know that they are very looking at us as a professional, and
Right.
even though that they want something, but if we give them our opinion that, for example, the house, it is the best house in the market, and I don't know, they still like it and they make the offer, or if we say, look, this house is a mess, have a lot of things to do, you guys going to spend a lot of money on it, do you still want it? So how do we be, should we be neutral, or should we be give our opinion like that?
So I think that in this situation, we're saying the house is a mess, and we realize as professional real estate agents that this house is in poor condition for the neighborhood, poor
Mhm.
condition for the area, it's just not that great, but the clients love it, is what you're saying. Yeah, so
Yes.
in that situation, I would be professionally honest. I would say, listen, I think that this is a great home. I think the bones are amazing. What about this home is speaking to you? And if they go, well, we just love the layout, we love how it's situated. Yeah, we understand that the backyard is, needs a little bit of work, and the paint is horrible, and we need to put new carpets in, and we need it. And so what I'm doing is I'm qualifying why they like it. And if they show to me that they do realize that they're going to need to do all new floorings, they do realize that they're going to need to redo the kitchen, they do realize that the yard is in poor condition. As long as they are identifying that they're in reality, I have no problem being like, great, this is an awesome home, because it is for them. But if all of a sudden they're just going, oh my God, I just love it, I just love it, I just love it, it's amazing, and I'm like, okay, they're not mentioning that the yard is in poor condition. They're not mentioning that there's a giant hole in the bedroom wall. There, whatever it might be,
Mhm.
I will go, okay, I just want to point a couple things out, and I just want to make sure that these aren't deal breakers for you. Because when we
Okay.
do the inspection process, I don't want you to get shocked when all of a sudden they come up with a couple things that to me are very apparent. Um, you know, I'm noticing a couple of things. Is this an issue for you, or is this something that you're expecting to take on once you move in? And so, I won't shoot them down necessarily, but I will, want to bring it up, and just to make sure that they realize it. Now, on the flip side, if I notice that there is for example, I was showing these condominiums to a father and daughter who were buying a condo together. The father's getting a little bit old, needs a little bit of help, and she wanted him to live with him. Anyway,
Mhm.
we were looking at this one place. Gosh, I forget it's over in Culver City. Anyway, when I walked up to to the place, the exterior looked okay, but then we walked into like the hallway, and it was just like super super dark, and it like kind of almost felt like we were in the haunted mansion at Disneyland. Like it was really weird. They had like really old candelabra lights, and it just felt kind of creepy and dingy and dark. And I'm walking in, and it smelled musty, like the hallway just smelled bad. And I was like, oh, there's no way in hell we're getting this place. And I was honest with them. I was like, listen, there's better properties out there. I
Mhm.
don't want to see you end up in this. And in fact, if you like it, great. But I just want to at least show you a couple other properties, because I don't think that this is appropriate for you.
Mhm.
And they were very, very appreciative of that. And
Mhm.
when that situation arises, you'll know, as an agent, it's like, listen, there's no way in hell that this place is worth, $700,000 with, a community grounds that looks in this condition, because I know that there's two more just a block away that are in way better condition. So let's go
Yes.
take a look at those. Let's be nice to the listing agent and, kind of poke around and go, okay, great. Thank you for the showing. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at some other properties, though, because I think that we could do better. And yeah,
Yes.
I will be honest in that situation. Single family homes, though, are different. You know, they may like it because of the potential it has. And if that's the
Mhm.
case, I understand,
Yeah.
oh, I see, because you can change all of these things. With a
Mhm.
condo, you can't change the hallway. That's it is what it
That's
is.
what it
So,
is.
so in those situations, yeah, I would probably say something.
Thank you.
Okay, anytime. Okay, so home tour checklist. So this is basically just like a home tour checklist. you want to make sure that there's, you know, they would fill this out, frankly. And this is kind of just what it looks like. These are great. They have these in the cloud CMAs. I like making them for buyer tours. It has these great little like comment sections and like a checklist and all that fun stuff. And I think it's really good to have. Admittedly, I don't always use them just because if you're showing a lot of properties, it takes a lot of time to print out and sometimes you just don't have time in the day. But if you have like a, you know, it's a really good client, it's a, you know, well-priced, you know, price point, take the time, you know, print that out, do it 100%. Doesn't hurt. And in fact, it just makes you seem more prepared and really helps them. And sometimes I don't use these, frankly, if I'm going to be honest. Sometimes you have like that buyer who's like very ADHD and all over the place, and having too much thing, like giving them a job to do while looking at a home, they don't really actually take it all in. You know, they're so focused on the checklist and then this and that, and that they don't actually experience the house. So sometimes I want them to put the paper down and really walk through the home and get a feel for it. But these are great, and they're a great tool just for you as the agent to hold on to and maybe make your own comments and stuff to bring up to them, like George was saying. Hey, did you notice that there's cracks in the foundation? Was that an issue for you? Or are you concerned about that? Oh no, you're not. You're going to knock the house down anyway. Perfect, even better. So definitely a good thing to have. Okay, so these are important. Number one is very important. Touring the home, and I'll tell you why it's important in a second. Ring the doorbell, even if the home has a lockbox. If the property is occupied, ring the bell at least twice before entering. Before going beyond the entry, shout, "Hello, real estate agent," a few times to make sure no one is home. Let me tell you why. One, there's a safety reason. If there's a lockbox, you know, somebody could have called the agent and said, "Oh, I'm a real estate agent," and just knows somebody's DRE and is, you know, shady and maybe trying to steal something. Who knows? And gets access to the house. You want to make sure nobody's in there for your own safety. Now, the other reason is once I set up an appointment to go take a look at a home, and I think the agent told them that we were coming because I did talk to the agent and they said, just go direct. And we go ahead and, you know, I did not, you know, shout "real estate agent," you know, or whatever. And I just opened the door and all of a sudden I hear somebody in the shower singing to themselves. I'm like, oops, okay, gotta go. So the point is, and I don't know if they knew that an agent was walking in their house while they were in the shower. So the point is always check, ring the doorbell a couple times, go, "Hello, real estate agent, anyone home? Hello. And, you know, then go ahead and go in. Also, I always recommend keep the door open when you're walking into a home by yourself. You know, this is just unfortunately the world we live in. You just want to make sure that you're being safe and keeping your safety at heart. You know, a sale is not worth risking your safety. So definitely do that. Always have a way out if you need to have it. Very rare that it ever happens, but you know, you hear it occasionally. Okay, record your own comments on the copy of the MLS sheet for each property as you show it. Have your buyers give descriptive names to help them visualize the homes individually. For example, the Great View House, the Creek House, the Fountain House, the Smelly Cat House. Whatever it is, just help them it helps them remind it, helps them think of it a little bit more easily versus like a street address. While touring properties, avoid making comments. Let your buyers, and so George, this goes back into what we were talking about. Again, I would make these comments not as I see them. I would ask them questions. I wouldn't make a comment. I would ask them questions. So how do you feel about this? What's your thoughts about that? You know, and the reason is because yes, I think that there are some issues with the home, but I want to see if there are issues to them. But anyway, while touring properties, avoid making comments. Let your buyers come to their own conclusions. Instead, ask questions. You want to get inside their heads to determine if the home is really a match for what they want. Try asking, what would you change about this house? This can give you the knowledge you need to help them to the proper home. Help buyers identify their perfect home by pointing out the benefits, not the features, that align with the needs, wants, and values you have already identified with them. Features are attached to the property, benefits are attached to the buyer. For example, if the home has new windows, point out the benefit, not just the fact that they are new. New windows mean you will save, you will have lower utility bills, so you can have some extra spending money every month. Have buyers rank the house you have shown them in order of 1 to 5. If you are working with a couple, have them do this at the same time to see if they're on the same page. This exercise will help the buyers self-discover as to what is really important to them for their new home. Finally, ask buyers, do you see yourself living here? Follow up with why or why not. If they respond affirmatively, ask, are you ready to make an offer today? Again, learn how to ask that question. Are you ready to make an offer? Sometimes you just need a little bit of a nudge forward, and yeah. Okay, let's see. If I could have, let's see, Lisa.
Yes.
Could you read the page Home Touring Etiquette?
Yeah, 1 second. Let me just close this screen.
Sure.
Okay. As a professional agent, it's important that you observe basic etiquette when showing homes to your buyers. Leave the home as you found it, including lights and AC/heat. Be sure to look for and observe all touring notes in the MLS or given by the listing agent. Be mindful of pets when opening exterior doors or going into the backyard. The seller may not realize how dangerous their pets can be to strangers, and you don't want to chase an animal throughout the neighborhood while your buyers wait. Leave a card on the counter to let the seller know you were there. If the home listing should expire, it may be good that the seller knows you actually brought buyers in. Make sure to secure and lock the house when you leave, and notify the listing agent if you notice anything is wrong.
Perfect. So it's very important when you're leaving a home to double and triple check and get in the habit of doing this, because I've noticed it's very easy, and thankfully I've never had this situation, but it is very easy. And the one time I almost screwed up on this is when I went, okay, this is why you double and triple check, because I almost left and I was like, wait a second, I need to go back and check. Because you're talking with your buyers, you're having a great conversation. They're like, oh my gosh, we love this place, we want to write an offer. And you're like, oh yeah, oh my God, okay, hey, let's go to my car and I have a blank whatchamacallit, we'll start writing it out, and when I get home, I'm gonna get, oh, wait a second, hey, I need to run back inside and double check. I left the sliding glass door open. I had lights on everywhere. Like, it was horrible. Like, somebody could have easily like walked in the back door and like stolen all their furniture. So you want to get in the habit, every single time you show a property, you walk in, you turn on all the lights, you open up the sliding glass door to the backyard, you know, open up, if it's maybe it's a kitchen door or something to the side yard or whatever, you want to open it up so your buyer can get a sense of the flow of the home. But after that, no matter what, even when in mid conversation, you say, buyer of mine, thank you so much. Hold on 1 second. Can you wait for me just right outside? I want to walk around the house to make sure everything is locked. And sometimes your buyer will want to help you with that, and that's fine if they do. You're like, yeah, sure, absolutely. Feel free to turn off some of the lights, but still make the check everything individually yourself. Even if your buyer says that they locked something, go back, make sure, check, just double check and make sure everything is locked. There's a liability issue there. You don't want to get sued because somebody, you know, left a door unlocked and, you know, all that fun stuff. And then also notify the listing agent if you notice anything is wrong. I recently was doing a Zoom showing where my client was going through a property, and all of a sudden we looked and we noticed that there was one of the mirrors fell in the bathroom. It was shattered all over the floor. And I actually forgot to tell him right away. And I was the first call, and he was like, did your buyer notice that there was a window that fell, a mirror that fell on the ground? I was like, oh my gosh, I meant to tell you, I'm so sorry. Thankfully, he believed me because it was the truth. We didn't touch it. It was like that when she got there. But that could have, you know, I could have ended up paying like $500 out of pocket just for the privilege of showing a house. So that would have sucked. So Always let the listing agent know if you notice anything is wrong. If something feels off, let them know right away. All important stuff. Okay. Your turn, benefits. Okay. This is working with a partner. We're on Zoom. Okay. Recognizing buying signals as you tour the house. This is very important for all of us to look at it because oftentimes your buyer is not going to say, I love this place, let's write an offer. Pay attention to your client's buying signals as you are touring properties. This will give you leverage you need to help the buyer make a decision. Once you know who the decision maker in the family is, keep your focus on them if possible. Some of the most common buying signals are listed below: body language and facial expressions, smiling, brightening up, asking about the seller's motivations, asking detailed questions such as about the seller's disclosures or taxes, visualizing furniture placement, that's a big one, comparing other houses to it, discuss new paint or carpet, sitting down in the house, that's a big one, becoming protective, not wanting other buyers to see the property, asking for a second showing, and raising objections. You may be surprised by number 10, but it is common misconception that objections such as, I don't like the blah, 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 it means that the buyer is not interested in the property. Objections can actually be strong buying signals. When buyers raise an objection to some features of the home, it may mean they are imagining themselves in the home. What are some objections that a buyer could say that actually means that, hey, this might be a great fit? I'm listening.
I don't know, maybe the kitchen is not big enough.
Right. That one maybe not. What about I don't like the color of the paint on the kitchen cabinets. That's a pretty easy fix, right? Or
Yes.
I don't know if I would keep this carpet color, or I don't know if I would keep hardwood floors in the bedrooms. I like carpet. Those are going to be some really tall signs that hey, they're actually thinking of themselves living here right now. And I know that carpet is like $1 a square foot installed. So, I mean, it's no big deal. I mean, it's a little bit more than that, but it's a cheap fix, it's no big deal at all whatsoever. So look for those things because oftentimes it might be an indication that they do like it. Stuff like that. Okay. Common objections during home viewing. Hold on. Okay. All righty. Okay, George, help me out with this one. So I'm your buyer, and George, I love it, but I haven't seen enough properties yet.
Mr. Jared, my role as your buyer specialist, and the reason why we met for a consultation is to sort through the homes that meet your criteria and only show you the best available homes, the cream of the crop, and the best homes on the market to go fast, usually in one, maybe 2 days. If you love this home, chances are someone else does too. Are you willing to lose the perfect home for you? Your wow home, the one you will absolutely love, just so you can see everything out there. Actually, that exactly happened to me last week.
How did it go?
It was more because the father is involved in this transaction and he's the money guy, and he raised a lot of questions to the daughter to purchase the property. So the daughter was settled on the property. I wrote the offer, prepared the offer. I just sent to them for them to sign, and they said, "Oh, we don't know if this is the one yet, but we've been looking for those property for a long time for them. And if you don't know because of this and that, so I have to have a full conversation with them and explain, but I didn't kind of push too much. So I said, if you guys feel comfortable, we can move forward." But that's exactly what happened.
Perfect. Yeah, and you know what? Dads are always a pain in the ass to deal with. No, I'm kidding. But no, parents, yeah, they're protecting their babies. They want to make sure they're doing the right thing. And that happens. It does. And excuse me, not a big deal. To be expected. But yeah, this is a great script for that though. All righty, George, I'll do this with you. You'll be my client. You really want to find you really wanted a formal dining room. Hey, George, remember in our first meeting when we talked about there being no such thing as a 100% house? We identified that having a formal dining room as being the 5 must-haves in your new home. Has a formal dining room taken precedence over one of these items? If so, which one? So basically, it's just saying that in that situation, they really wanted a formal dining room, but it doesn't have it. So we're just trying to understand, like you said that you really, really wanted this. I don't want us to get in an escrow and then all of a sudden halfway through you realize that it doesn't have a formal dining room and it's not going to work out for you.
Yes.
And if it does work out for you, why is it that this one now works, but previously you said you had to have a formal dining room? And then you might find out that like, well, you know what? I'm realizing that I really love this open floor plan.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So open floor plan is actually even more important. And this is something that you've just found out recently, and that's okay. But maybe I'd start sending them, more homes with a little bit more of a modern layout. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna get somebody else to do this one. Anybody want to elect themselves?
I'll go.
Awesome.
All right. I hear what you're saying, and this home does offer you a chance to add your own personal touches. Would it be better for you to pay a higher price for the seller to make the changes, or just redo this one thing yourself to meet your specific needs? Great.
Awesome. So yeah, this one is we don't like the carpet, paint color, landscaping. Something that's an easy fix. I hear what you're saying. This home does offer you a chance to add your own personal touches. Would it be better for you to pay a higher price for the seller to make the changes, or just redo this one thing yourself to meet your specific needs? Great. Hey, it's just a couple, it's just some grass, grass seeds are cheap, no big deal. Oh, it's just an accent wall. I get it. I don't like blue walls either, but if you painted that wall white, would it work? Definitely. Okay, bringing your buyer to a decision. Remember, you are not a tour guide with a lockbox key. Your job, once you have helped them find the right home, is to facilitate the decision-making process for your buyers so they can make an offer to get the home that they want before someone else does. This is an important milestone in the home buying process. Make an offer. That's where we are right now. Okay, the decision-making process. Each time you show a new property, ask your buyer to rank the property on a scale of 1 to 10. You should each record the number of the home tour checklist. The purpose is to continuously decide which property is ranked at the top for a possible offer. Ask them why they ranked the home lower or higher. After each showing, excuse me, ask if they want to purchase that home. If not, find out why not. This is your opportunity to further understand or to reassess the buyer's needs, wants, and values. When you have finished touring homes, put all the MLS sheets together in their order of ranking. Eliminate all but the top 2 ranked homes. Take the highest scoring home and ask, so this one is your favorite. It is going to be your new home. It does meet everything on your checklist, doesn't it? You can validate their choice by adding, I can see why you are so excited about it. Take the MLS sheet of the top ranking homes, flip it over, and draw a line from the top to the bottom. On the left side of the line, write pros. On the right side, write cons. Dig deep with your questions to truly pull out what they like and don't like about the homes. This way, your buyer doesn't feel like you're pushing the home sale on them. It helps you to isolate objections. Let's see. Now, one thing that I will say is if somebody's like, I love this home, let's write an offer. I don't think I would do this. But if there's 2 homes that they really, really like, and they're humming and hawing about it, I would kind of pit them together and do the pros and cons list. But, sometimes you do have very indecisive buyers, like they're very nervous about spending that much money. And this definitely helps a lot. But again, if you have somebody who's very decisive and is like, no, I know for a fact that I want this home, don't do all that. Just write the offer. Ask them to make an offer. Once they have clearly narrowed in on the highest ranked house, help them focus on the next step, making an offer by asking, so would it make sense for us to go back to the office and do some research on the house prices in the neighborhood to see what would be a good offer? Typically, most buyers are going to want you to send them a CMA, which is a comparative market analysis. So just keep that in mind. Okay, one moment. I need to get on to Connect, and we have a video. Okay, creating buyer urgency. All right. All right.
Hi, my name's Sean Healy, and today I'm going to teach you how to create buyer urgency through the showing process. And the first step is setting expectations. We tell buyers that it is a seller's market, and what that means is the best homes go fast. The next area that we set expectations in is multiple offers. We tell our buyers there's going to be a lot of other buyers out there, and you may find yourself in a competitive situation. The third area that we set expectations on is condition. Many of the homes that they're going into are going to be move-in ready, but they need a little bit of work. The next step in the process we call the funnel. And essentially, we're trying to take the entire MLS and funnel it down so that at the end of the day, there can be only one house that kicks out the bottom. What I'd like you to do tonight, pick out the best 10 or 15 homes, and then tomorrow drive by those homes and check them out. I want you to pick out the best 3 or 4. And we'll go out and take a look at those homes. Next part is the actual showing process. We show the first house. You'll ask the buyer on a scale of 1 to 7, leaving out the 4, 7 being perfect, and there is no perfect home, and 1 being unlivable, where would you rate this home? Inevitably, the buyer will answer it's a 5. And the reason they give you a 5 is because they don't have anything else to compare it to on the very first home that they've gone to see. Then what you want to do is try and reinforce what's making it a 5 for you. Then the next question you asked said, what are some of the things that you would do to move it more towards a 7 if you were to purchase it? You go on to the next house. Now you ask an alternative of choice question. Pretend you had to buy one of these 2 houses today. Which one would it be? The last one we saw or this one? They liked the first one better. Perfect. Go to the third house. The third house, you do the same thing. You say, all right, Gary, pretend there's only 2 homes on the market and you have to buy one today. Which one is it? The first one we saw or this one? And they say, this one. And you repeat that process over and over until you get to the last house. At the end of the day, you say, well, it looks like 123 Main Street was your favorite house. So right there from the house, we call the listing agent, find out if the home is still available. Let's go back to the office and get this property written up before somebody else gets it. My biggest aha out of this came when I was out with one of my first-time buyer families, and we drove up to the first house, and my buyer said, I don't even want to go in that one. What he ended up telling me at the end of that trip was, Sean, what I want you to do is print me out a list of every home that matches my criteria. I'm going to drive by those homes and I'll tell you which ones I want to see. Aha. Hey, thanks for watching KW Connect and make it a great day.
All righty, so some good info there. What's something that stood out to you that could help you with, touring buyers and stuff like that? Anything that stood out to anybody? Nothing? Okay. Well, I really like that he was having his buyers drive by the homes first. Put a little bit of responsibility on your buyers. We are real estate agents, we are professionals, we are going to be able to give them recommendations on why one house is better than the other. But a lot of it comes down to your own personal, emotional connection to a property, an area, a location, or what have you. And everybody's going to be different. We can't assume that we know what's going through our buyer's mind. They're their own individual, they're their own person. So I like that he's, utilizing his time effectively by having his buyers go preview the houses before even like walking in the front door. Because sometimes, yes, we can get an idea of the neighborhood from like Google Earth or like whatever, but it really helps to just drive by it and just kind of take a look ahead of time. Was there anything else that stood out?
I would have said the same thing. I think just because a lot of people, most of the time, who is making the decision maker sometimes is the woman, or I don't know who is the person making the decision maker. When you go to the property, you remind yourself why you like it or why you dislike it in the neighborhood. So I think that's one was a good one. I didn't know. I never did that before, so it is a good idea.
Yeah, it really kind of helps save you time. And, I think your buyers will appreciate it as well. Maybe the first time you kind of walk around a couple houses, with them, the first, time you do showings, and then they go, oh, you know what? I love this house, but, the street is not so great. Be like, okay, so how about this? Next time, we see a couple houses that we like, let's make a list. And then when you have time, maybe on your way back from work or whatever, go ahead and drive by it before we take a look at it over the weekend. And then that way, like, we'll have an idea, and then we can just kind of focus on the ones we really, really like, or maybe even make time for another house that really is better specifically for your needs. So all very good stuff. No worries, Shannon. Cheers. Okay. So what? No offers. If your buyers do not want to make an offer on any of the properties you show, make sure you understand why. Then be sure to schedule the next appointment before you say goodbye. Even if you have nothing lined up to show them yet, never leave an appointment without scheduling the next. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, before we part company, let's get our calendars out, set up our next meeting to look for that home you want to buy. If nothing worth seeing has hit the market by Friday, I will call you and we'll reschedule for the next Saturday. Overcome buyer reluctance. Once you have seen the best houses that meet the buyer's criteria, you may have to help your buyers overcome buyer reluctance. It's a common issue for many people experience when they are suddenly faced with the reality of making an offer for one of the greatest financial investments of their lives. Your job is not to try to sell your buyers on a home that isn't right for them, but it is your job to help them recognize when a home fits their needs, wants, and values. When buyers are sure they like a house, but are reluctant to take the next step to make an offer, reassure them that the simple step of making an offer is not as binding as they may think. So why is it not so binding to write an offer on a house for a buyer? What are they scared of by writing an offer? Just out of curiosity, what do you think is going through the buyer's mind when they're writing an offer?
Maybe, I mean, if they make an offer and it's accepted, there's no counter offer, then you're locked in. And then maybe there's still the thought in the back of their head of, did I see enough properties before deciding on this one?
Exactly. And why is that not true, Josh?
I mean, I would think if you're a buyer and you're willing to put this much money forward, I would have to be 100% certain that I'm making the right decision. And if I had any sign of doubt, I wouldn't be willing to put, all this money down with a chance that, pen's going to paper.
Sure. But is there any real financial risk within the first 14 days of an escrow or 17 days of an escrow?
Not I mean, there can be, but not really.
Yeah, I mean, we have contingencies in place. Yes, we are taking earnest money out and putting it in on the home within the first 3 days, but do you get that money back if for whatever reason during the investigation period or your inspection contingency, you decide, you know what, house isn't for me. We've inspected it. You know what? I just realized I don't like it. Can you pull your
You
money?
don't get, no.
Yeah, you can. You can get your earnest money
Well,
back.
Well, sorry, earnest money. Yes.
Yeah. So you can get all of your earnest money back. So it's just
can you repeat that again, Jared?
Yeah, sure.
How can you get your money back?
So for example, we have contingencies in place for a buyer during the buying process. The first one that comes up is the inspection contingency. Now, I always typically change my inspection contingencies to about 10 days. I believe it's like 14 or 17 days, memory serves me correct, but I almost never keep it at that. So that's why I'm always saying 10 days. That's just what I do. I just have a lot of construction connections and a lot of home inspectors over the years. So I know I can get it inspected within that amount of time. So for me, I always say 10 days. But, when you're still having inspection contingency in place, the buyer is able to walk away from that deal 100% free and clear for any reason that they come up with during the inspection period. That contingency is still in place for that reason. So if, for example, your buyer goes, you know what? I was driving by and the neighbors are just super loud, playing loud music and all this stuff. I don't want to live in this neighborhood anymore. We're pulling our offer out. The buyer noticed that the neighbors are a little bit noisy and that's a deal breaker for them. So sorry, and we can walk away from that deal and get my buyer's earnest money back deposited to them within, I think a couple of business days. In fact, usually it's the same day, but yeah. So that's why I always tell my buyers, don't be scared to write an offer. We have 3 days until your earnest money deposit is due. And during that period of time, you can drive by the house. We can kick the tires. If you want to get access to it, I can set up an additional showing, all this fun stuff. In fact, if possible, I like to schedule my general inspection within the first, couple days. So maybe I might even be able to get the inspection done, within, 2 days or something like that. So I always tell them, don't worry about writing an offer. You don't even have to put your earnest money in for a few days. So you're fine there. But even if you do put your earnest money deposit in, and for whatever reason you decide that the home is no longer right for you during the inspection period, you can walk away free and clear. Can you still walk away free and clear after you remove the inspection contingency? It's a little bit trickier, but can you? Technically, you can. You might want to ask your lender to tell them that, oh, shoot, we couldn't approve or something like that. But, you're able to do that. You're still typically able to. Yes, there is a potential chance that somebody could go after earnest money deposit, but it's very, very rare. But mainly the thing that I like to focus on is the first, during the inspection contingency, it's kind of like a free period of time to just kind of kick the tires. And that way, if there's for any reason you want to back out, you can go ahead and do that. And so oftentimes what I'll tell some of my buyers, I'll be like, listen, I think that this is going to be the best house that hits the market. We could be wrong, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. I understand that you're reluctant to write an offer, but how about this? You love this property. So let's go ahead, write the offer now. They're not going to review offers until Wednesday, midweek Wednesday. If we do happen to get accepted, we have a few days until we have to put in earnest money deposit. And even after we put in our earnest money deposit, let's still go ahead and look at a couple other homes next weekend just to make sure we made the right decision. And fine, if they find something that's better for them, the next time we do some showings, great. But more likely than not, if your buyer fell in love with the property enough to write an offer on it, they will probably stay with the offer that they actually, have put in. And sometimes it helps to just do that because it shows them that, hey, no big deal. And in fact, I've had situations where, we've written offers on 3 different properties in the same week because I knew that they loved all of them, frankly. They were like, I would move to all of these properties. And sure enough, we did. And one time I actually had a situation where I had 2 offers accepted on 2 different properties with the same buyer. I was like, uh-oh, now we're in a predicament. And we had to determine very quickly which one they preferred over the other. And, you know, we made that decision very quickly, and we notified the other listing agent. Unfortunately, we also had an offer accepted on another property, and, you know, we rescinded our offer immediately. So it didn't cause any issues for the other listing agent. But, you know, just let your buyers know that it's fairly risk-free to go ahead and write the offer, as long as you have your contingencies in place, and as long as they can't prove that you had any liquidated damages caused by entering an escrow with you. Okay, so, all righty. So we have some objection handlers, and we're on page 28 of 39. So we're almost done. We only have 11 more pages. If I could have Amber do the first script of this page, objection handler, what if prices drop? And I'll be Mr. and Mrs. Buyer.
Okay. Jared, are you most concerned about the price of the home or the monthly payment on the mortgage?
I guess the monthly payment. I want to make sure I can afford it.
Of course, the monthly payment. I would have to agree with you. Let me ask you another question. Do interest rates generally go up faster than home prices come down? What do you think?
Yeah, I guess they do. Yeah.
Yes, no doubt about it. In fact, interest rates could rise 1% tomorrow, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, home prices would have to come down 10% to make up for a 1% rise in interest rates. So if you were looking for a $200,000 home, do you think interest rates might go up 1% before home prices come down $20,000 in your price range?
Oh, snap. That's a good point. I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there. So let's do the right thing and make an offer today before interest rates go up.
All right, Amber, let's write it up. This literally, this script right here, my favorite script ever. I use this all the time, constantly, especially in this market, because guess what? Interest rates, they're going up. And guess what's happening with home prices too? They're going up. So it's even better to use this now. So, you know, whenever I have somebody who's a little bit concerned and they go, is this the right time to buy? It's like, yeah, interest rates are still very, very low historically. And guess what's happening? Interest rates are going up and home sales prices are going up. So let's take advantage of the market conditions today and take advantage of this amazing opportunity, because I don't know when the next time you're going to get a 3% interest rate is. So, you know, I definitely use this. And then also the comparison that home sales prices would have to, interest rates would have to, sorry, where is it? Home prices would have to come down 10% to make up for a 1% rise in interest rates. So if you're looking for a $200,000 home, do you think interest rates might go up 1% before the home price goes down to $20,000 in your price range? I use this, and for $1 million house, that's even more. So this script, learn it, love it, print it out, write up a couple scenarios where you have $1 million versus $20,000, because when you say 200,000, that's a big difference. So anyway, all righty. Objection. We want to sleep on it. Amber, if you can be you're sleeping on it. And I'm the agent. Amber, you're right. This is a huge decision. However, I have to give you fair warning with as little pressure as possible. If you are ready to write an offer on this home, other buyers may also be ready to write too. Being first to write will make a difference in negotiating the best possible price for you. Is there something specific holding you back? How can I assist with your decision?
I'm just still not sure.
Gotcha. That sounds good. I will call the listing agent first thing in the morning to see if the home is still available, and then I'll call you. Do you have any questions on the property that I can get answered for you?
Not right now.
Okay. Do you have any other purchasing concerns I can assist you with?
Just this one.
Gotcha. And so, you know, unfortunately, sometimes they are going to want to sleep on it. And, you can't push too hard. The expression I like to use always is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. That's kind of the situation here. Sometimes they're just going to be unsure, and there's not a thing you could say in the world that's going to change that. And it is what it is. So remember, whenever we're using scripts and dialogues for buyers, our job is not to push them or force them to write an offer on something when they're not sure. But if after we've done everything that we possibly can do to show them that this is, in their best interest, sometimes you have to go, okay, let's just sleep on it. Now, here's a good thing. My clients and I, unfortunately, slept on writing our $695 offer to counter the $690 offer that these homeowners had over in Stevenson Ranch. So in the morning of that day, I was like, my buyer said, I really don't know if I want to move forward. I don't know if we can compete with that, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I really think that we should just come in right at $695 and whatever. By the time, I asked the listing agent, I said, listen, if we wrote it at $695, would we be good to go? And they said, yeah, absolutely. If you can beat them, we're ready to rock and roll. Well, I basically, told my buyer, listen, if we want to do it, we can get it right now, but we got to act fast. They said they wanted to sleep on it. So by the time they had agreed to the offer, I'm submitting it to the agent. And literally she's like, it's a done deal. If you can get it to me, they're going to sign off on an offer, like, probably tonight. Sure enough, at the last second, I was so confident. I was like, yes, we got it. My buyer finally agreed to it. Oh my gosh, yay. Guess what happened? Cash offer came in, $700,000, closing in 10 days. What are you going to do? So in the morning, when my buyer was like, so did they accept it? Did they accept it? And I was like, unfortunately, because we waited, somebody came in with a higher offer. They're like, you're kidding me. I'm like, no, I told you. Remember, the market's moving very, very fast. Do you think this buyer is going to be reluctant to write an offer again?
Probably no.
No, they learned their lesson is what I'm getting at. They all of a sudden realize, wow, this market is moving super, super fast. And the only reason why we didn't get this house is because we had to, think on it for, 6 more hours. And those 6 hours cost them the house. And the other reason is I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the other reason is remember I said we don't have to be too scared of writing an offer and getting into an escrow, mainly because even if they all of a sudden do change their mind, they can still walk away. They still have until the inspection period is up. So they still have the opportunity to walk away from the deal. So instead of humming and hawing about it over 6 hours, why don't we just put it in writing, submit it to them, and then think about it, because you still got, 14, 17, whatever, how many days for the inspection contingency. So let's get the offer in and then think about it a little bit more in detail a little bit later. Now, obviously, if they feel it's worth it, definitely do it. Or if they don't think it's worth it, don't, force them to write an offer. But if you know that they're going to probably come up in price and that it's still within, reason that it's, going for that sales price, just, urge them to go for it. Because worst case scenario, we'll rescind the offer and they'll move on to the next person on their list. So I don't think that's going to happen again with this buyer, but it was a valuable lesson that, buyers have to unfortunately learn sometimes by lessons. I lost this house because of inaction. I lost this house because I lowballed it. I lost this house because whatever. So let's not do that on the next one. Now, most people tend to learn, but I have had a client where I worked with him for over 2.5 years until I finally got him into a home. It was very frustrating. It even got to the point where I would kind of joke. I'm like, let me guess, 20,000 below asking. And he's like, I know, I'm sorry, but yeah, if I could get it for this price, I'll do it. So we're good friends now, so it's okay. Okay, get to the bottom of the line with your buyers. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, what are you looking for? What you're looking for doesn't exist. So we have to make a decision. You can step up into a higher price point, you can adjust your expectations, or you can step away from the home buying process for a year and see what happens. What is the best course of action for you? And George had to do this recently with a buyer, with his client. And this would be a very good script for all of us to know, because when it does come up and it does happen, I think that this is a great script for that. There's only a couple things that we can do. We can either raise our price, lower our expectations, or we can walk away and see what happens in the market. If they're willing to adjust their expectations, do a new search. If not, recategorize them as a lower priority buyer and stop devoting your showing time to them. Keep them on your campaign and tell them to get in touch with you if a property eventually comes on the market that they would like to see. And this is exactly what I did with my 2.5-year buyer person of mine, because I just realized, it was just too all over the place for them. They were looking in like Glendale and the Valley and also downtown LA and also in this place and had to be in this price point and it had to be, this and that. And I was like, okay, you're taking too much of my time. I'm going to put you on a drip. If you see something, let me know. I'll jump on the horn right away. But we gotta do something here. We either need to up our price point or adjust our expectations. And it worked. All right. Okay. Okay, so this is basically just talking about things we should have with us when we're doing showings. This is the most professional real estate agent ever if they have all of these items on their person at all times. So keep that in mind. You want to have paperwork, a list of customer needs and wants and contracts and the MLS sheets, paper goods, tissue and toilet paper. Sometimes there's no toilet paper in listings and your client needs to go to the bathroom. You want a map, but we all have a cell phone, so we could use that. Office supplies, pens, pencils, notepad, tape, stapler. First aid kit, pro. Umbrella, you want 2 umbrellas. Flashlight, we have a cell phone. Beverage and snacks, totally, for myself, if not anything. Tape measure level, I don't know why, but because we're not contractors, but it might help to help them measure out a room so they can imagine their furniture in there. Entertainment for kids, coloring books with crayons, movies, and a digital camera. We have a cell phone for that, so that's good. Now, all of these items are great things to have because it's a great touch. If all of a sudden it starts raining and you have an umbrella with you, that's just going to make you seem awesome. If your clients are getting hangry, you want to be able to give them a little bit of food and some snacks and some drinks. Having a map is very important because if you're going from property to property, you're going to want to see what the best line or course of action is. Flashlights are important. Matt Miller, who's in our office, was showing a property and they literally had no power at the property. So he had to walk around the house with a flashlight with his buyers. I thought that was hilarious, but good on him. He had it. Digital camera, you might want to take some pictures while you're at the showing. Just to remind them of what something looked like or what have you. First aid kit. If your client hurts themselves or something and you have some Band-Aids on you, you're going to seem like a superhero. So these are all just important things just to keep in mind. Most of these things you can just throw in the trunk of your car and just have it there for a rainy day, literally, umbrella. It's good. And also, if you have clients who have kids, having entertainment for them, oh my gosh, you're going to be like a savior to your clients. Anybody who has kids will tell you that. Okay. Okay. So this would be practicing showing a home while pointing out the benefits and handling objections. So this one, if we were in person, unfortunately we are not. So there we have. So that's pretty much all we have for today. Told you it would be a little bit quicker. I did make it to 1 o'clock. I apologize. But do you have any questions before we get off? Are we good to go?
Good to go. I think this was my last class.
Atta girl, good job, Amber. Congratulations. And do you know when you're going to get your license?
I'm
Or it's
still waiting
still-
for them to even contact me to tell me when I can take the exam. I'm so frustrated.
I would be very frustrated myself. And you tried calling them and they just put you on hold for like a long time?
I haven't tried calling. I was kind of discouraged away from it the other day when one of the other girls said that she was on hold for 2 hours. I'm like, why am I even gonna try? But I might.
Yeah, you try to bug them. That's really unfortunate. It's usually not this bad. They do get around to it. I will say that, but yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes you need to kind of poke them.
Yeah, they took my money. Let me take the test.
Right? Seriously, what the hell? Hey,
Amber,
don't
when did
worry,
you-
we'll get to you.
Amber, when did you send in your application?
I mailed it off January 25th.
And that was to take the exam?
I'm sorry, say that again?
And that was the application to take the exam, or like your
Yeah.
application?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the packet to take the exam. And they cashed my
Ye-
check maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Then that's exactly what happened to me. It took me almost 2 months back a couple months ago for them to send me or like say I'm able to take the exam. And it was 2 or 3 weeks before I actually heard. I saw they cashed my check. So at least it was a good sign knowing they had my application.
Right.
But I would check. Have you ever been on the Dre's website? They have like a current processing time frame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I check that pretty often.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
Getting closer. I mean, they should have received it probably the first or second week of February, I'm assuming. So,
mhm.
yeah. Did they contact us by mail or how do we know?
I got an email.
Okay.
And again, it was like 2 or 3 weeks after they had cashed my check. So hopefully it's coming right
Yeah.
around this week for you as well.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you. Good to know.
Of course.
All righty. Very cool, everybody. Well, thank you so much. Hope you're having a great day and get out there, get some clients.
Thanks, Jared. Have a good day.
All right.
Thank you, Jared.
Thanks,
See you
Jared.
next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.